So, you're a king, are you? Well, you'll need a crown and a robe. They made Jesus a crown out of thorns and gave him a purple robe. Then they pretended to bow down to him. They then whipped him and spat on him. They didn't understand who he was, that he was the King of heaven and earth, the person who'd come to rescue them. The soldiers made him a sign which said, "Our King," and they nailed it to a cross. They walked up a hill outside the city with Jesus carrying the wooden cross on his back. Jesus had never done anything wrong, yet here they were, about to kill him the way criminals were killed. They nailed Jesus to a cross. "Father, forgive them," Jesus gasped. "They don't understand what they're doing." The people shouted, "You say you've come to rescue us, but you can't even rescue yourself." But they were wrong. Jesus could have rescued himself. If he'd wanted, a legion of angels could have flown to his side and helped him. "If you really are the Son of God, you could just climb down off that cross," they said. And they were right. Jesus could have climbed down from the cross, but he stayed there because it wasn't nails that held him to the cross. It was love. "Father, Father," Jesus cried, "don't leave me." And for the first time, there was nothing, just silence. God didn't answer. He turned away from his own Son. Even though it was midday, a dreadful darkness covered the world. The sun couldn't shine anymore. The earth trembled and quaked until it seemed as if the whole world would break. The full force of the storm of God's anger at sin was coming down on his own Son instead of his people. It was the only way that God could destroy sin and not destroy his own children, whose hearts were filled with sin. Then Jesus shouted out, "It is finished!" And it was. He had done it. Jesus had rescued the whole world. "Father, I give you my life." And with a great sigh, Jesus let himself die. Jesus' friends gently carried his body and laid it in a new tomb made out of rock. How could Jesus die? What had gone wrong? What did it all mean? Jesus' friends' hearts were breaking. "That's the end of Jesus," the soldiers said. But just to be sure, they put some strong soldiers to guard the tomb where they'd put Jesus' body, and they rolled a huge stone in front so that no one could get in or out. Jesus' friends were sad. How could this happen? Wasn't Jesus the rescuer, the King that God had promised to send? It wasn't supposed to end like this. But this wasn't the end. Just before sunrise on the third day, God sent an earthquake and an angel from heaven. When the guards saw the angel, they fell down in fright. The angel rolled the huge stone away and then waited. At dawn, Mary Magdalene and some other women headed to the tomb to wash Jesus' body. The friends walked quietly up the path through the olive garden until they reached the tomb. But then they noticed something odd. The tomb was wide open open and there was nothing inside. Jesus' body was gone. Standing there was a shining man. "Don't be scared," the angel said, but they couldn't help it. "Where's Jesus?" they cried. "Where is he?" "Jesus isn't dead anymore," the angel said. "He's alive again." The women couldn't believe what they were hearing. They were suddenly filled with joy. How could it be true? How can he be alive? Just then, Mary heard someone else in the garden. Perhaps it's the gardener, she thought. He'll know where Jesus' body is. "I don't know where he is," she cried. "Mary," the man said. She turned around to see who the man was and thought she was dreaming. But she wasn't dreaming. It was Jesus. He was really there. He was alive. Mary fell to the ground and began to sob. She wanted to stay with Jesus forever and never leave him again. "You will see me again," said Jesus. "But now go. Go and tell all the others that I'm alive. Go now." Mary got up and she ran and ran and ran all the way back to the city. It was as if the whole world had been made anew. The whole world seemed to be singing for joy. Was God really making everything sad come untrue? Jesus had done it. He'd rescued them. Mary couldn't wait to tell everyone what had happened. They were never going to believe her. And of course, they didn't.
Hi everyone! Did you work out who the superhero is?
Hi, Sue!
Hi guys, how are you?
Chocolate, what are you doing?
I'm melting chocolate, ready to make some Easter eggs, ready for Easter.
Why do we have Easter eggs?
Well, there's a couple of reasons really. If you look at an egg, it's kind of stone-shaped, and that reminds us of the stone that was rolled over the tomb when Jesus was laid in the tomb. And then when you open it up, it's hollow inside.
Wow, yeah.
Which reminds us that on Easter Sunday we celebrate that Jesus wasn't in the tomb. He was alive and he's with us today. Also, an egg is a sign of new life. Because chickens come from eggs.
Yeah.
And Jesus gives us new life. So, did you work out who the superhero was?
Jesus!
Yeah, that's right. And just in case you didn't, let's recap, shall we? Go right back to the beginning, to the very first Passover feast. And if we remember, when Jesus enters Jerusalem, it is the time of the Passover feast. And he was the final sacrifice instead of the lamb that was used back in the Old Testament. So we don't have to sacrifice lambs in church anymore, which is really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because of that, Jesus took the punishment for you and for me for when we get things wrong and we have to say sorry. And because of that, we can still be friends with God. And all the bad things that we get wrong, all the things we get wrong that we call sins, we are forgiven. Happy Easter, everybody. And I hope that when you get those Easter eggs on Easter Sunday, that you remember this story and remember how Jesus was the superhero who came to rescue the world. Happy Easter!